quickly we will move on to our next session, which is on assessment strategies and innovation approaches in evaluation. For this session, our moderator is Lieutenant Colonel A. Shekhar, Principal, Atul Vidyalaya, Ahmedabad. Before this, we have an industry presentation by Vijay Raj, General Manager Products, TCY Online. And we have 30 minutes for this whole session, so you have 10 minutes, and the open discussion has 20 minutes. Thank you. I don't want to, have any issues with all the principals and teachers. So you will have to tell me which. This is the folder which I copied. I think these two things are required only. Presentation, please, on the screen.
Hi, and a very good afternoon. Standing in front of my school principal was one of the most stressful events in my school life. And today I am standing in front of so many principals, and it's making me nervous. I would like you to meet Arav Ghosh. He's a brilliant student, a 12-year-old. He doesn't look so happy. Probably his teacher shared his math report card with him today. He scored well, but didn't score as much as he expected to. And his teacher told him to work harder. He would like to. He's a studious student. He would like to improve. But he doesn't have any clue as to what to do now. What is the next step? Arav's parents, probably they are walking out of a PTM. The teacher advised them to spend more time with Arav. They know that Arav is burning his midnight oil. They want to help him, but they don't know how to help him, where to help him. Arav's math teacher, she's a great teacher, very dedicated teacher. She likes to spend time with her children. But after an examination, every child expects her to spend time individually explaining him or her how to improve, where to improve, what all need to be done to improve. But at the same time, she is managing a class of around 45 students. Where does she find time for that? And if she finds time for that, how does she remember the weakness of each and every student? And when she remembers, then would it be that pointed and that pinpointed remedial action that is actually required? Arav's principal, a visionary educator, he wants to transform the entire educational landscape of a school. He feels that there are needs of improvement in various areas. So whenever he sits down with the teacher to discuss on the improvement areas, the discussion becomes very generic in the absence of supporting data. And that is when he came across teacher assistant from TCY Online. The first thing that happened was a comprehensive learning objectives was framed and shared with each and every stakeholder, be it the parent, student, teachers, and the principal. So now the entire school had definite, defined goals in mind. And the teacher, when he or she is walking into the classroom, she would have certain objectives in mind. Okay, after this class, my students should develop these skills. And once she feels that, okay, I have delivered justice to these skills at hand, the students take an online test. And immediately the teacher gets a feedback, okay, there are certain areas where you need to revisit, and the students get another feedback, okay, there are certain improvements that you need to make, and these are them. The teacher also gets a report which tells her how her section is performing vis-a-vis other sections in each individual topic and subtopic. She gets a report on what she needs to focus on and how to initiate remedial action. For example, now as a teacher, she knows that there are 2 topics to be taken up again in the class, and there are some students who have done not so well in those topics, and there are some students who have demonstrated excellent capability in those topics. So if she wants to do a peer learning activity, now she is empowered to do that. For a student, it goes to the level that it tells him, open your NCERT book, go to page number so and so, read this section again to improve on these topics where you need to improve. And when it goes to the parents, then again the parents are in a position to actually help the child because they also know where the improvement is required. Then the child gets a detailed report on how his performance is vis-a-vis the entire class and the topper, so that he knows where there is a scope of improvement. For the principal, all he has to track is the median marks. So he sets a goal for himself that, okay, I won't let the median mark go below 60. So that is the performance level that he keeps, and he just have to monitor that in which section is the median marks going below 60. And to make any intervention, I would always have, as a principal, enough information at hand as to which teacher should I sit with and to discuss what topic areas. And if I need to do some mentoring activity within the school, then I would be able to do that because I also know which is a teacher who is performing the best in that particular topic area. And of course, how my school is performing compared to the other schools in the nation. And so teacher assistant, what it does is, it is making sure that teaching is resulting in learning. TCY Online was founded in 1998, and the online testing wing was launched in 2008. We are an education company first, then a technology company. We have served 2.3 million learners till now, and that makes us one of the largest online testing platforms in India with over 100 categories of testing. And the first school that we signed up with, they have finished the 3rd year with us. You don't have to take my word for any of what I said. What you can do is, you can run a 3-month demo, because I was given 3 minutes to give a demo, right? So 3 minutes is not enough to evaluate a product like this. So you can run a 3-month demo and see how it works for your school. And there is no special hardware or software required besides the regular infrastructure that you will always have in your school, the computer lab and internet connection. That's it. Thank you so much. Any questions, any queries, any feedback? Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to a presenter who finishes in 8.5 minutes when time given to him is 10 minutes. And we can have a couple of questions on this. Yes, anyone? Right, sir? Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. we have about 20 minutes. If we can work our 20 minutes well enough, we can have about 40 answers. That is, if each one of us speak for about 20 to 25 seconds, assessment, strategies, evaluation, innovation. How do we get this thing going? We are all into this business for years, for decades. Technology has come into play. Has it helped us? Has it moved us forward? Are we becoming instant judgmental? Are we forgetting our ability to be reflective teachers and principals? So let's start from the basics. What do we understand by assessment and evaluation in the context of a school? And how do we get our students to get the best out of it? Any volunteers? Yes, sir. And clearly, sir, I am only going to hold the mic. Your time starts now, 30 seconds. Introduce yourself. And I'm a retired 4G.
Right. Actually, we talk in terms of assessment. We will have to think assessment for what? Assessment in context of what? And tools of assessment. And when we are talking in terms of assessment, actually, before assessing the students, we have to assess our teachers whether they know what assessment is like. Thank you very much.
Good point. Teachers to be assessed. Yes, ma'am. Teachers to be assessed. Can you take it from there? Introduce yourself. Your 30 seconds starts now.
I'm Abhilasha. When we're looking at assessments, first of all, to understand what are we assessing, define assessment, different tools to be used for assessment, and most important is, are we taking assessment as learning? Are we taking assessment for learning, or are we taking assessment of learning? So we need to identify that first, different categories. And one of the best ways when we look at assessment as learning, peer-based assessment works out to be very good. That can be for student to student peer-based assessment, also teacher to teacher. And then later on, then once we move to the first rung of the ladder, then we look at assessment for learning and of learning.
Right. Two speakers have spoken. Now, here it is. Yeah, introduce yourself. Are you going to follow up? Are you going to have little bit? 30 seconds.
Good afternoon. I'm Preeti from Billabong, Baroda. Assessment of the understanding of the concepts taught. I think that is very important, that how much of the teaching which has happened, has it been understood? So there is another aspect of assessment which we follow, that is assessment of the understanding of the concepts.
Understanding of the concept. Here, a good intervention is in order. A Harvard scholar, somebody by the name of Dr. Jal Mehta, writes a blog. It's interesting for all of us to read. He talks about deep learning. And he says, the more you learn, the more insecure you become. Learning is something from the known to the unknown. What does a teacher want? You are teaching a child, say, something in social sciences. You are teaching him the Battle of Plassey. At the end of it, the child says, yes, I have learned this, but this is not right. I require to learn more. Is that the way? When deep learning was being discussed, this is part of a Harvard study when he said, the more you learn, the more insecure you become. The more insecure you become, your yearning to learn becomes even more. So in the context of a school, do we understand a child by how insecure as a learner he is? Do you evaluate him on a different basis? It's a deliberate intervention to make us think differently. Now to our next speaker. Yes, introduce yourself, ma'am. 30 seconds.
I'm Dr. Niyati Chitkara, Principal Chitkara International School, Chandigarh. I will just ask 3-4 questions for which I just need one word answer.
Yeah.
Who studies in the class? Students. Who appears for examinations? Students. Who should be assessed? Who is actually assessed? The learner. Whom should be given the feedback? Who should be given the feedback? And who is given feedback? The parents.
Yeah, fair. Good point. No, I think she's making an extremely good point. We are not keeping the student, the learner, as the fulcrum around which our formative, whatever assessments we talk about, that's what she's trying to point about. Any counterpoints on this? No. Something else. Yeah. Counterpoint on this? Sir, 30 seconds.
Let's take 10 seconds.
10.
I don't agree with this because every single question, answer sheet, after the exam is being discussed in the classroom with the students that how you should have answered these particular questions. So it's not that the child is not being made aware of the way he has done the papers.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'll come back to you. She gets an intervention and then I'll come back to you. I'll come.
Well,
Yeah, let
in
me
an
take
assessment, we need to be very clear with the rubrics. If I've given a passage and I want to test grammar, I must only test grammar, not spellings.
Fair.
If I'm giving spellings, I must be only testing spellings and not grammar.
Right.
Only then will we know where the child stands.
Fair.
Our rubrics should be very clear.
Yes. We should know what we are assessing. We should know what we are evaluating. That's the point. Ma'am, repeat. Will be like. I'll come. One word. One sentence. I'll come to you. Yes. You can hold the mic, but after her.
So just to answer, your thought process, what happens on a PTM? We are giving feedback to whom? Are we giving feedback to the learner or are we giving feedback to the parents? It's a feedback day. But it's more of a verdict announcement day. One teacher to another teacher, we're announcing verdict. This teacher says he's good. This teacher says he's average, and the child feels out of 8 teachers, if 4 tell me I'm good, which means I'm good.
Fair. We are being very prescriptive, as she says. We'll come back to it. Good. Good. I think at least to that extent, to put a different idea through, a round of applause for all the speakers so far. And do it properly. Yeah, please.
Hi all, Shruti from Brilliant Bilaspur. Actually, I disagree with a little bit what you said, ma'am. You mentioned that if at all you test grammar, you need to assess for grammar only. Ma'am, we have to be holistic. I need to see to it the body as a whole. I cannot just talk about the eyes as a soul or any other body part. So, as an holistic personality developer, I need to see the whole picture as a whole. It can never be secluded. That's what I believe in.
Just giving you an example.
Right. Ma'am, leave it to the moderator. Yes. What she was saying was, there's a point in both, Jain philosophy talks about anekanandava. You are right, I am right. So as a moderator, you are right, she is also right. What you are saying is, let's have proper rubrics. What she is saying is, no, I have to check grammar as well as spelling, etc. I think there is meaning as long as we understand what each other. Fair point? Yes, ma'am? Absolutely. I see. Yes, everyone is doing this, so at least we have understood what rubrics is all about. Yes, ma'am. We have to, yes.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that PTM is parents-teacher meeting. It's not a verdict day.
No.
It's not at all. It's a positive interaction, will everything.
Ma'am, somebody is switching off the light when somebody said PTM. No, switch off mat karna yaar. The point she makes, there is huge validity in it. In a metro super speciality school where hyper parents and helicopter parents exist, it's a different story altogether. Here what she's saying is, in effect, the role of a principal or a teacher, we are very prescriptive. We do not look at the context in which what is happening. We are always looking at things. What makes the child or etc. do something. We don't really do that. The story of Reader's Digest, a great story. There were 2 passengers in a flight. The gentleman was sitting to the left. The guy, Reader's Digest editor, was sitting to the right. He said hello. And there was no response. Hello? He said, want a glass of water? Yes. For the next 1 hour, 20 minutes, the gentleman never spoke. And the editor of Reader's Digest, Arvind Kala, wrote that article. मैंने बोला था, सोचा था, sorry for the language, sir, अपने आप को क्या समझता, he doesn't answer me, ये वो काफी कुछ. We kept thinking about it. At the end, the flight landed in Delhi, and he said, can you just allow me to go a little early? my wife has just died in so-and-so hospital, I'm going for the funeral. The point I'm trying to make, I'm just following up on what she said. As teachers and principals in assessment and evaluation, we tend to be a lot more prescriptive, despite what you are saying, ma'am. We're trying to open up our PTM. So that is the line in which she was saying, you are one-liner.
Just to reiterate what you say, that our PTMs on a larger scale and in most schools are more prescriptive than diagnostic.
Right.
And to what I wanted to say earlier, assessments and tools, we all need to understand, and we need to tell our teachers to teach the children, teach the child and not the subject.
Right. How the child understands would be what is more important rather than covering the portions and the syllabi. Yes, sir. 30 seconds. Yeah.
30 seconds. What I feel about assessment, as a common for all, it's a chance for people we are running school or the teachers, that what we are giving or what we are actually giving or delivering to the child, is it properly come out? That is the time to check it out again ourselves also. Because the success, it's not only the child. We are also successful if the concept of assessment is purely coming out.
Okay.
That's all.
Purely coming out, fair. To throw a point to all of you, instead of, I'm coming to you, ma'am. Instead of, when do we set up, we do our patterns, right? Exams when we want. CBSE, ICSE, everyone else. Instead of that, imagine exams when the child wants, even the terminals. Teachers will raise a shindy big time. How do we handle that? Yes, ma'am. You were saying. Ma'am, 30 seconds.
When we talk about children and knowledge, we are actually, all of us are into this business of schools to prepare child for the future. And this future, none of us knows what it is going to be.
Right.
Yet we are teaching them today to prepare him for some unknown factor. And in this context, it is very important that assessment has to be revolutionized, and innovative techniques are required, because we have time on one hand and the volume of knowledge to be tested. And unless we crack on the right question, because every teacher is troubled by the time constraints and the volume constraints, however much she would like to test the entire content, it is never practically possibly so. So it's very important to hit on the right question, to elicit the right answer, so that the right feedback can be given to the student. Like the TCY person said, the child says, I want to improve how? So one good way to tell the feedback is, okay, you've conducted an assessment, depending on the right question. Child would have arrived somewhere, so give him the satisfaction that yes, you are here. Give him also the dissatisfaction that is some area pending, and even the brightest needs to go somewhere further than what he has already learned.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell him.
Yes. Yes. I'm coming. She is overshot by 15 seconds. Her consequences, punishments will be taken. Now, no.
Moderate it properly because it's a comprehensive thing.
Thoda thanda ho jao idhar. Everyone. Yeah.
Hi everybody, this is Archana, DPS Bangalore.
Yes, she's a former moderator, so a special 15 seconds for her, extra, yes.
No, I don't need that. I just needed to say that is there only one kind of assessment, that is teacher assessment?
Yeah.
Can there also be peer assessment? Can there also be self-assessment?
Absolutely.
All of us are writing our own ACRs, have been writing our ACRs. ACR gives us chance to assess ourselves, isn't it? So similarly, similar chance can also be given to the student. All right?
I agree.
Somewhere along the line, some parameter, maybe 5% weightage can be given to self-assessment, 5% weightage can be given to the peer assessment, and rest can be given to the...
Yes, we'll come to that. See, this is taking on from a point, I work for a corporate. One of the things which is newfangled is 360-degree performance appraisal. It is the biggest claptrap I've heard for a long time. There are certain basic things which we have to work out. Schools are not fundamentally democratic institutions in the way we say we vote. It's Kiran Bedi or Arvind Kejriwal or Ajay Makan or anyone else. There is a certain amount of prescription to it. We say students are our consumers. What a lot of baloney. How can we say that students are our consumers? They want pornography, will we give it to them? What rubbish are we talking about? So what happens is, there is a parent, the parent is involved in the child, depending on the age of the child. There is a teacher, there is a principal, there is a student, and there is the wider community. How do we get in an assessment which the child believes is positive? The evaluation which he says, yes, I have not done well today in, say, sports. How do I improve my football? The child is willing to listen. You tell him, I want to improve my maths, usko sir dard aa jati hai. There is a challenge with which you tell a child, you do this drawing better, the child enjoys it. The child is willing to listen to your evaluation and assessment. So how do we bridge that? And how do we also incorporate what is the learner thinking and what he feels about how it's happening? Yes, several. Yes, sir. One liner.
If you yes, sir. He's from army, so I can remind him. I am also ex-army. We started off, they used to be, the officers were asked to write their own ACRs. After some time, they realized that officers were either over-assessing or under-assessing. So this is the system, never worked, and they scrapped it.
Yes, okay. Give some weightage, that's important. Okay, let's come here. Yes, ma'am. Again, you get 15 seconds extra. You are a fellow moderator. Yeah.
Please make the child, the parent and the teacher together the stakeholders, or collaborate. Make a rubrics which you were talking in collaboration with all the three. So if everybody is on the same page, we assess and we assess successfully, and I think the success is innumerable. Means I would say everybody is happy.
Everybody is happy.
And when you were talking about that they are 15 minutes, 15 seconds,
yes,
okay?
Done.
When you said consumers, definitely I would say that if you ask them what they want to learn, instead of getting into what we want to teach, or the parents asking for demanding that in our times this happened, let the child decide what he wants to learn. And if we can do that, the assessment would all be, what the child wants and the way he wants to be assessed.
Ma'am, sorry.
Can we write that story for the child?
Right. No, ma'am. See, here there is a challenge. I'll come back to you, ma'am. Third attempt, rukna hai. There is somebody else who has not even spoken once, and nobody to speak out of turn. Mics are withdrawn there. Yeah. There
Thank
is a
you.
point. Just a sec. Education is not only for the student per se as an individual. It is for the family, it is for the society, community, it is for the nation, that is. If you are running a K-12 school, after 12th, the child has to become a citizen of India in the right way. Otherwise, our 300 million people who don't have 2 square meals won't achieve it. That's whether we like it or not, part of our responsibility. So, to give child the complete freedom to decide on what he or she has to learn and be assessed with would be something fraught with issues which we may not be able to handle. Over to you.
Thank you.
Yes,
life is a mystery. When I was a child, it was going to be told you are supposed to remember, either you can't live. Today you can say I can remember. Then I am going to be told you are supposed to forget if you want to live. What is to be required? We are supposed to understand the child. Then I think the teaching and everything is possible. First, our job is what? To understand the child. Then I think everything is very fine.
Yes. How many of us claim that we understand our child? Is it possible? I have a 5th standard, you send him to a nursery calls, he says generation gap. मुझे समझ में नहीं आता वो nursery वाला क्या बोल रहा है. So do we really make an attempt to understand the child? Yes.
Hi, this is Rita Jha from Patna, Bishop Scott Girls School.
If you stand up, all of us can see you. Your handsome face. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. This is Rita Jha from Patna, Bishop Scott Girls School. Assessment should be done for what the child knows, not for what the child doesn't know. In our school, we make 2-3 types of question papers, so that for each level, we have different question paper, so that each one can do well. Thank you.
Right, we are all sticking to assessments on paper. We are all sticking to assessments on marks. We are all sticking there. can we expand this concept of assessment and evaluation and innovation beyond paper, pen, grades, etc.? There is much more. The instinctive analysis of a teacher, I've always found them, provided she's unbiased, is something which is unbeatable. Yes, sir.
Sir, this is Arun Prakash from Laris International School. I have been founder principal of 7 schools, including 5 DPS. I want to ask one question from all of the learner community. We assess children in our school. We give 60%, 70% child belong to here and here. But how much that translates in actual life success? If we came 90%, whether he is really 90%, we gave 30%, he is really 30%. According to me, many 30%, 20% are more successful in life than our 90%.
Very good point. I think a big round of applause for him. He's put across the point. Again, if you see 57% of IIT graduates quit their jobs within 1 year. 57% of them. And it's extremely interesting. Since I am from the armed forces, Seni sir, you would agree with me. Can we have the outsiders make a little less noise, please? This is ridiculous. Yeah. Over the last 80 years, swords of honor, that is people who have won, I'm giving it to you, who have won the #1 position in Indian Military Academy, the best all-round cadet, except one. Nobody has become the chief of the army staff. Despite the best of assessments, except for one officer, nobody, and the vast majority of them, and it's even more interesting, the most indisciplined Jawans in units, I'm sure Mrs. LVR Singh would agree with me, they go to Rashtriya Rifles, they get the maximum gallantry awards. So, maximum gallantry awards. So, the point is, we all have to think and reflect. Our system of assessment and evaluation sometimes is bloody trash. And we must admit it and say that life teaches, otherwise Bill Gates should never be anywhere here. And the company which I am part of proudly, Kasturbai Lalbai, first chairman of IIT Mumbai, the man behind IIM Ahmedabad, the first Indian director of RBI, he never went to college. Therefore, do we give too much of importance to these marks, or have we got to be more balanced? Last 4 questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello everyone, Dr. Sarita Singh from Mount Literacy School. According to me, assessment, when we take care of the classrooms, I observe that with the help of case studies that in classroom, I think 3 groups are there. One group is really focused, vision oriented, and really they captured what destination they want. Second group is what they tried, but still they don't have a success that much what they are expecting. And third group is means that they don't have any vision. So assessment should be always be correlate with the vision oriented, what the child actually want. So that's why I agree with the man's point also. And even sir, really when we thinking about the consumer side, and as for the commerce person, I believed from buyers and sellers, we focused on the product only. So as a child is also our stakeholders and consumer. So that's why today's scenarios say that sir, according to what the student want, we can do according to that. Right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. I have a pathological dislike for consumers and products. Accepted. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aarti.
Yeah.
To continue with what sir said, that most children who do not perform or who are not assessed on a very high scale do very well in life. I think somewhere we need to teach our children how to taste. When they taste success, how to take a taste of failure as well. And the children who have a taste of failure, exceptionally well they do in their life.
It's an extremely good point. The Australian army, the best of them become commandos. And when they look at their profile, they only take people who have faced failures. They don't take people who have not faced failures. The Australian, the best of their commando force. Again, yes, last 3 interventions. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, quickly and after that
That was 4 earlier, now 2. We have 2 questions now.
Two answers.
2 answers, yes.
It's just an observation. I think we need to be a little more innovative, and their thinking skills and questioning skills rather they need to be developed. Instead of just following the rote learning sort of a thing or the formal assessment kind of a thing, if we try and give more chances, more opportunity to the learners, to develop and to question, I think that is the need of the hour, and that's what we need to develop.
For which the principals and teachers should say, I don't know. Yes.
Rashmi Mehta, Silvan Public School. I'd really like to applaud the way you're moderating. The point I want to make is, how do we encourage students who are to be pushed towards innovative ways of arriving at an answer?
Yeah.
I think sometimes we need to really look at the way the children learn. And if for higher order thinking skills or for open-ended questions, it's very important to encourage innovative ways of reaching an answer, and also that there can be more than one way of reaching the answer.
The destination. Right. Yes, ma'am? No, ma'am. There. No, she. No, I'll come. No. It's clear. Ho gaya. Yes, ma'am. I'm coming there, yeah. Yeah, please speak. We'll combine that. Otherwise, Seema will kill me. She's looking at me like Basma, sir. If looks could kill, I'd be ashes by now. Yeah.
Good evening, all of you. I'm Pia Sharma from RAN International, and I believe knowledge without application, now how to apply it, is not at all useful for the students. Yes, HOTS is something, yes, we need to address, and application-based. And that's why all our soldiers there who've got all these gallantry awards know how to apply whatever they've learned. And if we've just been rut running, I think we go nowhere.
Okay. Yeah. Last word to a soldier's wife. Quickly.
Thank you so much, Colonel Sekar. Well, you know what, what your original question was for this particular deliberation. We can meet at conferences, we can do a lot of talk, but unless and until we have policy makers also part of this conference, there's not much that we can play around with, because the curriculum, it binds us, the timetable, everything, the CBSE pattern, everything. Why do we talk about skill-based learning, but we don't have that, and we need to include vocational training or vocational subjects as at a senior secondary level.
That is,
so
the
suggestion.
next session, I don't want to get into Dr. Kumar's session. She will, as it is.
Because you asked, your question was that why we are not. So it is because the curriculum is like that. The time frame is like that, that we do not have much choice. Even if we want, it binds us somewhere. The policies bind us to act in a particular way.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'll end with a story which is extremely famous. Those of you in the ICSE board would remember Dr. Emmanuel talking about it. This is a story of a student, a teacher, a principal, and a DEO. The DEO visited that school. The principal proudly said, "I'm taking you to Mr. Venugopal's class." Mr. Venugopal is, fortunately, a national award winner. Class mein chala gaya, a student ko pucha tha, what is 5 plus 5? The child said 8. Taliyan, the teacher, bahut taliyan baja rahe hain. The DEO got lost, the principal got lost, they came out. So he said, what is 5 plus 5? Mr. Venugopal said, sir, it is 10. Then why did you agree? Actually, sir, last week he was saying 6. It's an improvement. Assessment and evaluation, if we understand that, we learn it. Thank you very much for your patience, for all of you, for answering those questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. That was a very interactive session. And I will request Ms. Manju to felicitate Colonel. I will request Meenakshi to take the certificate. How to wrap up things in time, you should learn from our army officer. A round of applause for sir, please.